Most people think they have a lead problem. They're spending money on ads, leads are coming in, their cost per lead looks fine, but somehow their calendar is emptier than it should be. Nobody's booking. The leads are coming in, and then just nothing. They go quiet. And you maybe tried like follow-up sequences, setters, different ad angles, but nothing moved the needle. But then, what I realized was that most people are looking at the completely wrong thing. The leads were never the problem. What was happening, or not happening, between the lead coming in and the point where they were supposed to book, that was the problem. And that's exactly what I'm going to be breaking down in this video. Okay, so what is the problem? Well, the problem is just that nothing meaningful happens between you getting a lead and them booking a call. You have nothing meaningful that gets the lead ready to book a call with you. I mean, you're spending money on ads, you're posting content, and you're getting leads, but those leads, they just sit there. They never book a call. And yes, around 3% of people are ready to book a call with you right away after you got them. But what happens to the other 97%? What happens to most people who aren't ready to book a call with, a random stranger? Because if you think about it, if you run ads, well, they saw you for the first time, or if you post content, the likelihood that they saw you for the first time is also pretty high. So you're still a stranger to them. And that's why most people don't book a call right away. Only around 3% of people do that. So if you have nothing meaningful happening here in between you getting a lead and then booking a call, well, then most people will never book a call with you. And yeah, you may have many things in between you getting a lead and then booking a call, but the thing is that they are not effective. They are not doing anything meaningful. If they are not making leads, book a call, then they are fully useless. Then you might as well have nothing there. And the thing that pisses me off is that so many people optimize for cost per lead. And optimizing for cost per lead is one of the most stupid things that you can do. You're spending money on ads, you're getting impressions, you're getting leads. Yes, you have a great cost per lead, but if none of those leads book a call, then that's pointless. Then it's useless to have those leads if you're not getting anything out of them. And I'm probably going to touch on this later in the video, but what you need to understand is that when you're optimizing for lower cost per lead, then you're optimizing for people who have great thumbs, who are great at becoming a lead. You're optimizing for the people who are the cheapest to get to opt in to whatever thing you have, that are most likely so unqualified. You need to optimize for cost per qualified call. Only thing that matters is you getting booked calls with people that you want to work with. You need to optimize for people who are great at booking a call and becoming clients, not people who have great thumbs, who are great at opting in for things. And if you optimize for lower cost per lead, if you get some calls, well then most of the calls that you get, they're with unqualified people, or they don't show up, or then they just treat the call as like a research session. So either way, you just get shit. You get pure shit. And most of you have tried some email sequences, follow-up, setters, but your leads still ghost you. And that's what I mean with you have nothing meaningful happening between the lead and getting them ready to book a call with you. And that's what I'm going to try to help you fix in this video. So what you need to understand is that every problem and every symptom traces back to one thing. By the time the lead is supposed to book a call, they don't have enough trust in you, your business, or your ability to deliver results to justify the commitment to get on the phone with a stranger. Because again, as I said, when you get the lead, you're still going to be a stranger for them. And in today's trust economy, in today's day and age, when you get a lead, when they see you for the first time, whether it's from an ad or organic post, they are not neutral. They are skeptical. They have negative trust. They have been burned so many times before. They have seen people saying some crazy shit. So the baseline today is to have negative trust. I mean, you're starting from the negative end. You're not even starting from zero. So what you need to understand is that just because someone gave you their phone number or email doesn't mean that they're even close to booking a call with you. There's a massive gap between mildly interested and ready to book a call with you. But most businesses treat these as the same thing. They collect the lead, they throw them in a generic email sequence, they get the seller to contact them, and they wonder why no one fucking books a call. The only thing the lead gave you was the permission to earn your trust. You haven't gotten their trust yet. They didn't agree to buy. They didn't agree to book a call. It's your job to bridge that gap. That's what you have to do. The actual problem is that you're asking for the booking too early. You're sending these strangers who have just seen you straight to a booking page expecting them to book a call. Or then you try to be clever and ask them to book a call in the first email, in the first DM, but that's still proposing on the first date. That's like you proposing 30 minutes into the date rather than 5 minutes into the date. You need to understand that the commitment to actually book a call is actually fucking huge. They're giving 30 to 60 minutes of their time to like a stranger they know that they will be sold to, obviously they know that, and they have to believe it's worth it. That requires trust you haven't built yet. So if you're sending these like follow-up reminders to book a call to a stranger when they're still at the negative trust, no wonder they want to book a call. You can send the like direct follow-ups, these ones, when you have built the trust, when they are here, then you can send the right follow-ups. But your first job, the most important thing, is to bridge this gap, to get them to actually know you, so that they're not a stranger anymore. You need to realize that booking a call is 400 times harder than closing someone that's on the phone with you. And most people don't realize this. They think that the hard part is actually closing the prospect, closing the lead when they are on a sales call. But the real actual hard part is getting them on the phone in the first place. Because you can get 100,000 impressions, you can get 500 leads, but only 50 of them book a call. But you can very easily, from 50 calls, close 10 clients. So if we look at the conversions here, the conversion from impression to lead is 0.5%. The conversion from impression to booked call is 0.05%. But your close rate on sales calls is 20%. That's like in a different universe. And the same thing applies to like outreach if you're doing it. You can very easily send 10,000 cold outreach messages and only get one booked call. But it's impossible for you to have 10,000 sales calls and only close one client. So instead of fidgeting your close rate, trying to get it from 20% to 25%, instead you should think, how can I get more of my leads to actually book a call with me? And as I told you, that is 400 times harder, but the benefits are also 400 times bigger. Some time ago, Google did a study that says on average it takes around 7 hours of exposure, around 11 touch points, and in 4 different locations to turn a stranger into a client. And if you're now thinking about this, after someone sees your ad, well, they maybe spend 30 seconds with you, and then whatever funnel you have, whatever website you have, well, they maybe spend a couple of minutes on your website, so they have spent like 5 minutes at most with you. And if you now compare this 5 minutes to the 7 hours that Google says it requires, well, you're not even in the same ballpark. Well, obviously these people don't book a call with you, because again, they have no trust, they don't know you. And then when you're sending the like generic emails, well, they maybe read a couple of your emails, they spend maybe, again, 5-10 minutes with you, and then your seller contacts them, they maybe have a quick chat, well, they maybe spent 30 minutes with you. And this is me being generous. This is still not even close to the 7 hours. And I know, in today's day and age, it's so hard to get someone to actually spend 7 hours with you. That's nearly impossible. But what you need to realize is that the more time someone spends with you, the more likely they are to book a call with you. So if we can get people to spend 2 or 3 hours with us, then they are actually going to be ready to book a call with you. Or at least much closer than if they only spent 5 minutes with you. And the way you get people to spend 2 or 3 hours with you is by engineering a consumption path for them to take. If you just throw links and videos and posts here and there, then no wonder no one is consuming anything. You need to actually guide them to consume the right assets. Because if you don't force them to spend time with you, then they won't spend time with you. You need to build a trust bridge. You need to build a journey. You need to build a guided path for them to take. And it can't be like one touch point. They need to go from, I just heard about you, to, I understand what this person does, I've seen their results, I believe they can help someone like me, and I want to talk to them. And that journey should include you providing value to them, you showing proof and providing proof, you educating them about what you do, how it works, why it works, how you're different to other competitors, and you building trust, and then and only then will they be ready to book a call with you. You need to use your content and your proof strategically. Most businesses just have them buried somewhere and no one fucking finds them. Do you expect someone to go and like scroll through your entire web page or something after seeing for the first time? Well, obviously not. If you don't put something right in front of their eyes, they won't consume it. You need to wire everything into an actual journey that the lead takes. I mean, you need to build a path like this that leads them to booking a call. And the next thing is that a confused mind never books a call. They just don't understand what you do. It's that simple. And this is one of the most overlooked things. If your leads can't explain to themselves what you do, who you help, what problems you solve, then they will never book a call. And most businesses just say way too many things. They introduce like 6 new concepts, they have a unique mechanism here and there. It's just way too confusing. Most people try to be clever instead of being clear, but it's always so much more valuable to be clear so that people actually understand what you do. Because like every new concept that you introduce takes the lead's mind to a different direction. There's an inverse correlation between the amount of new things that you introduce and how much the lead actually retains and remembers. And what this leads to is that they don't know what to expect from your call. They don't know what to expect if they book a call with you. You know, so many people are afraid of the unknown. They don't know what to expect from the call, so that's why they don't book. You know, they assume it's going to be like pure hard selling, and they have been on those calls before and they hated it. And with clear messaging, you can always show what the next step looks like. They can always know and like predict what will happen next, so they are not scared. So if we take like a B2B example, so instead of you saying like scale your business with our proven system and then having like complicated things like we help entrepreneurs leverage synergetic growth frameworks, AI-powered six-figure blueprint, proprietary method, holistic approach, and then like our revolutionary framework combines cutting-edge, you know, you don't even want to listen to me anymore. It's like you don't understand what I'm saying. But instead you could like say, very simply, I help coaches close more clients from the leads they're already getting. Simple. If you have like proprietary framework, synergetic flows, like if you use complicated words like that no one understands, like you're playing the wrong game. You're trying to impress yourself, you're trying to impress your peers, but you're not getting any actual like booked calls. You're not getting any clients. And if you're getting booked calls from like complicated messaging like this, well, then that makes your calls 10 times harder, because now you have to explain how everything actually works. You will have so many questions that you need to answer, you will have so many objections, and your calls, it will just be pure nightmare. So you need to make sure that people actually understand what you do. You need to explain it so simply that a third grader can understand. And then the next thing, which is that people's interest comes in spikes and it fades after that. You need to realize that people buy in certain emotional states. And when they reach that emotional state, then they are the most likely to book a call, to show up, and to buy. But that emotional state is only created in certain places, and it doesn't remain for long. So one of the biggest problems is that you have no system in between people opting in, between you getting a lead and them booking a call. So you have nothing that actually keeps them warm, that warms them up, that keeps them in the correct emotional state. You know, most businesses, they have a leak right here. They obsess about their ads and getting leads, and they obsess about their sales calls, but they don't spend enough time here in between. You know, again, you maybe send them a generic like welcome email, you know, a short email sequence, or your seller contacts them trying to get them to book a call. But again, you have nothing actual meaningful that gets them to the correct emotional state and retains them there. You have no value, no education, no reason to take the next step. And you know, the leads' interest came in a spike. When they opted in for whatever thing you had, well, they were interested in that moment, because otherwise they wouldn't have opted in. But then the interest faded after that. So by the time you ask them to book a call, interest is fully gone. But if you build things the correct way, you can get them to retain that emotional state until you ask them to book a call. Or if you do things actually correct, you can build up on this emotional state. You can build on their interest. You can get them to an even better emotional state. You know, you keep warming them up over time. And once you ask them to book a call, they are piping hot. They trust you. They know you. They have a connection with you. So you can't just spam them with book a call messages after someone has opted in. You need to build on their emotional state. You need to retain them in the emotional state. And only then can you ask them to book a call with you. You need to continuously provide value. Stay in front of them. You know, keep building trust, because people, they have so much going on these days that if they don't see you daily, then they forget you. So you need to constantly keep hammering them with your stuff, with proving your expertise, because otherwise, you know, their intent will go so quickly down. And this is not easy, but I will show you the system that achieves this. And one of the biggest things is that the lead, they are not experiencing your expertise before being asked to commit, because yes, the lead, they can read as many testimonials and case studies as they want, but no one is going to truly understand your expertise. No one is going to truly believe that you can help them if they haven't personally experienced what you can do. And you know, traditional marketing says that you need to promise a result and then get them on the phone and then sell them. But we are in a trust economy. That doesn't work anymore. People only believe something when they get to experience it firsthand themselves. You know, the number one indicator of the value that you receive after buying something is the value you received before buying that thing. So you need to understand that your free value, the free things that you give, are so valuable because the lead will judge your paid stuff, how good your paid stuff is, based on your free stuff. And if your free stuff is good, if your free stuff actually impresses the lead, that's what gets them to book a call with you. But if your free stuff is like generic and low effort like everyone else's, why would they believe that your paid service is any different? You know, if your free stuff is the same as everyone's, well then they won't differentiate you from anyone else. So one of the biggest problems is that your lead magnet is generic and forgettable. And most people opt for like generic lead magnets like PDFs, ebooks, guides, checklists, you know, templates or anything like that. You know, it's the same thing for everyone who downloads it. And the reason why most people opt for that is because it's easy. You know, it's effortless. You create a PDF once and then you can just give it to like 10,000 people. But the problem is that no one cares. The lead magnet doesn't achieve anything. You know, yes, you maybe get some leads, but most people, they never even open it. And the ones that do open, like your PDF, they just skim through it and forget everything and they never even want to talk to you again. But for most people, it just sits in their inbox. They never open it. You know, it doesn't build any trust, it doesn't build any expertise, and it certainly doesn't get anyone to want to book a call with you. And the reason why those generic lead magnets fail is because personalization is what actually builds trust. You know, people want advice for their specific situation. You know, not a one-size-fits-all download. So the golden question then is, how can we make something evergreen but also personalized? Because personalization is what builds trust, but it doesn't scale if you do custom work for every single lead. I mean, you can't do something custom for like 10,000 people. But you don't have to create that custom work. You can actually get AI to do it. You can create, you know, this on the screen. This is my quiz that I've created. So this is the click to close audit. So how this works is that people, they fill out this form with 14 quick questions about their business, and then based on their answers to these questions, will they get a personalized audit based on their unique situation. You know, the thing is that you want the lead to tell you about their situation, and you can only do that through a quiz. If you have like a standard opt-in, standard lead magnet, you can never ask them for like their revenue, for example, if you're B2B, because no one would ever answer that. But with a quiz, you can ask them anything, because in their mind, these questions, they are the quiz questions, and they obviously are. Through these questions, I will take their answers and create a customized audit, a personalized audit exactly for them. So now I'm creating something personalized for them, but doing it in a scalable way. You know, if someone says that, okay, they are a coach. Next question. Okay, is what you sell high ticket? Yes, my price is 3 to 10k. Next question. Do you close clients through sales calls? Yes. What's your revenue? Well, it's 40 to 60k. How many new leads do you get per month? Well, I get 50 to 100. How many qualified calls do you get? I get 30 to 60. Where are most of your leads and booked calls coming from? Paid ads. You know, you get the point. I ask these questions, you know, what are you struggling with the most right now? Then they tell me what they're struggling with the most. Okay, I'm struggling with low show-up rates, for example. So then based on what they tell me here, do I create them their personalized audit, their personalized thing. And now, because I'm helping their unique situation, because I'm giving them something that's actually valuable, now I'm proving my expertise to them in first hand. But like with a generic like lead magnet, you're not proving anything. You're just giving them a standard like PDF. But if I give them something specific exactly for them, now I'm proving that I can actually help them. And again, they will judge your paid stuff. They will judge your paid program based on your free stuff. So if your free stuff is like a generic PDF, but my free stuff is a personalized audit of your unique situation, well, obviously, they will think that my paid stuff is better than yours, because my free stuff is so much more valuable than yours. And this is how you get people to book a call with you, if you can get them to experience your expertise firsthand. If you actually help them and their situation for free, then they will trust you and then they will book a call. And the other very valuable thing about your quiz is that you get so much data about your leads that it becomes a piece of cake to actually get them to book a call. You know, you have seen the questions that I ask people. For example, this one, I ask them, what are you struggling with the most right now? So if someone answers, they struggle with getting my leads to book calls. I'm not booking enough calls. Well, now I know these leads' exact pain points. So just think how effective my follow-ups become. Because if I know that their biggest problem is not booking enough calls, well, now I can tailor all my follow-up messages to be specifically about how to book more calls, how to get your leads to book calls. And that makes my follow-ups so much more effective, because I can tailor my follow-ups to their specific pain points. You know, I have so much data, I know everything about my leads, so I can so easily tailor all my follow-ups, all my emails, all my SMS to their specific situation. And that's what gets them to book a call. But let's get back to the cost per lead thing that I was talking about. And as I said, most people are just optimizing for the wrong things. You can't be optimizing for cost per lead. Because let's look at these two examples. Well, business A and business B, they both have 5k ad spend. But business A, they get 1,000 leads because they optimize for cost per lead. But business B, they only get 200. That's 5 times less because their cost per lead is 5 times more. They have a $25 cost per lead, meanwhile business A has a $5 cost per lead. But because business A optimizes for lower cost per lead, their leads are going to be pure shit. Their leads are not going to be good at booking calls. Their leads are not going to be good at becoming clients. As I said, their leads are good at opting in. Their leads are good at being freebie seekers. So they get only 10 calls. Meanwhile, business B optimizes everything for cost per booked call. So they get 25 booked calls. And because their booked calls are with higher quality people, they have a 85% drop rate. Meanwhile, business A has a 50% drop rate. And for the same reasons, business B has a 35% close rate. Meanwhile, business A has a 15% close rate. So business B closes 7 clients. Meanwhile, business A only closes 1. Business A got 5 times more leads, but they get 7 times less clients because they optimize for shit. They optimize for the lowest quality people because the lowest quality people are always going to be the cheapest leads. Always, because there are more of them in the market. If you're optimizing for lower cost per lead, you're removing all the friction. You're getting a flood of leads to come in, but most of them are unqualified. And most of them, again, they never book a call in the first place, and the ones that book a call, they don't show up, or they are just impossible to close. So what you need to do is that you need to qualify harder, and this is counterintuitive for most people. They think that if they add more friction, no one will book a call. But the thing is that, well, yeah, you may get fewer leads, but so many more of your leads will book a call. More of them will be qualified, more of them will show up, and they will be easier to close. So then we get to your response time. And your response time is so important. The average lead to call cycle is around 7 days. But a lead who is going to buy from you today is always going to be gone tomorrow. As you saw with the graph that I showed you, people's intent goes down dramatically after you don't, contact them, after you don't nurture them. And there's been studies that if you contact your leads in under 1 minute, your lead to booked call conversion goes up by 391%. You get 4 times more booked calls out of your leads if you contact them in under 1 minute. But if you contact them after 5 minutes, it drops by 80% from this one. So actually being fast is so important. You are not going to be able to contact your leads in under 1 minute if you do it manually, if you do it yourself, because you're not on your phone, you're not on your computer 24/7. So in this scenario, you need to implement AI. You need to get AI to do this for you. But the reason why it's so important is because every minute that you wait, the lead is cooling off. They're getting distracted. They're moving on. So, speed is not optional. When someone shows interest, you have to be there immediately. And the first message, it shouldn't be like pure selling. For example, if you run a quiz like I do, you could just tell them, thank you for getting the quiz, and then you could tell them what their biggest problem was, for example. But the most important thing is just that you contact them, that you start a conversation with them, and then after you have held the conversation, then you can start to ask them to book a call. But you shouldn't lead with that. So, just summarize. The lead needs to have a clear understanding about exactly what you do, what problems you solve, and what the end destination is. And then they need to have 100% trust that you can deliver the outcome for them and that you are the right person to do it. Then you need to build a personal connection with them. Then they need to see proof and examples of what you have done. Then you need to prove to them that you can help them by actually helping them for free. Then you need to get them in the correct emotional state to buy and actually keep them there. And lastly, you need to frame your CTA in the correct way. You should never say like book a call or book your free consultation, because then you're giving the frame to the lead. You should always retain the frame. Instead, you should say something like see if you qualify or apply down below or something like that. But here is a quick visual example of what the system that achieves this looks like. If you want more information about this, I have a lot of other videos on my channel where I break this down in excruciating detail. But a quick overview is that it all starts with your lead magnet. And again, the lead magnet needs to be extremely valuable. It needs to demonstrate your expertise. And the only way to do this is with a quiz. But then, after a quiz, you need to have instant SMS. As I told you, you need to contact your leads fast. And this should be non-salesy, and you should chat with them and build a real connection. Then you also have value emails that provide more value in a non-salesy way that further demonstrates your expertise. And in the value emails, you want to link strategic video assets that are hosted on YouTube, and their objective is to handle objections, to answer questions, prove your expertise, and to solve or agitate your lead's biggest problems. And these are strategic videos. We strategically put them in your value emails. We guide people to go and watch these videos. These videos, they don't need to get native views on YouTube. Their job is to make this entire sales process more effective, to get people to book a call with you. And then while all of this is happening, you also have retargeting ads. And all of these three, the strategic video assets, the SMS, the retargeting ads, the value emails, they all go to your VSL. And then on your VSL, that's where you want to make it extremely clear what you provide and the problems you solve. The objective of the VSL is to build clarity around what you do. And then from the VSL, people can then book a call on your calendar. And throughout this entire system, throughout your retargeting ads, your SMS, your value emails, your video assets, you want to sprinkle in your case studies, your proof, your testimonials, so that people actually watch them. They shouldn't be buried somewhere on a testimonial page. But then for the people who land on your calendar page but don't book a call, this is around 50% of people. They are put into a cart abandonment sequence. So you need to think. They have gone through your lead magnet. They have gone through your SMS, your value emails. They have gone through your retargeting ads. They went through your video assets. They went through your VSL, and they landed on your calendar page. But for some reason, they didn't book a call. And these people, they are so close to booking a call. They are on the 1 yard line. So what this cart abandonment sequence does is that it contacts them immediately. It fires like missiles from all directions and tries to get them back on the calendar to book a call. Because you need to realize that these people they are so warm. They wanted to book a call because otherwise they wouldn't have filled out your qualification form. But something happened. Maybe their kid started to scream, or I don't know. Something happened, but for some reason, they didn't book a call and they forgot to do it. So that's why you need to immediately contact them and try to get them back to book call. And then the last thing, which is that everything needs to funnel people to booking a call. You need to have a CTA to book a call with you in every single place. So after the quiz, you want to redirect people straight to a different VSL page. I call this the cold VSL page. And on this page, people can book a call straight away. And this is designed for the 3% of people who are ready to book a call right away. But then in the email that delivers the quiz to the lead, in that email, you want to have a PS section to go and book a call. And that goes to your VSL page. This one, this is your main VSL page. So everything should go to this VSL page where they can book a call with you. But then in your lead magnet itself, in the PDF that you deliver to the lead, you want to have links also in that go to your VSL page. So in the PDF, then if you have a welcome email for new people who opt in that welcome email, you want to have links to your VSL. Then obviously in your value emails, you want to have links to your VSL. In your retargeting ads, links to your VSL. In your SMS conversation, you want to have links to your VSL. In all your video assets, you have links to your VSL. But I think you get the point. Everything that you have, every single place where you can have a CTA to book a call, you want to have it there. Because it's obvious, if you don't tell people to book a call, why would they book a call? So you want to try to get the link, the CTA, in all the possible places. But in the more places you ask people to book a call, the more people will actually book a call. But you still need to think. You can't ask people to book a call straight from a cold ad, for example. And you shouldn't ask people to book a call straight from a short form content. It all depends, again, on how warm people are. Because from cold ads, they see you for the first time. They are very cold. So almost no one will book a call with you. And same from short form, there are people who see you for the first time. They won't want to book a call with you. So from these two, we want to send people to our quiz, to our lead magnet, and that then warms people up so that they can book a call from all of these other places that I showed you later on. But the thing is that in all these places where we warm people up, in the value emails, for example, if we make a lead piping hot, then we don't want to beat around the bush. Then we want to be straightforward and tell them to book a call. But if someone is not warm, if they're not piping hot, then we don't want to be so pushy and direct. But it all depends on how warm people are in different places. But as I said, if you want more information about this system, how it works in detail, I will link that video in the description below. But if you right now have any more questions, I will put my Instagram in the description below. So feel free to shoot me a DM and I'll be more than happy to help you out. See you in the next one.